Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be going over Neptune in the 8th house Synastry. So this video is for you if your Neptune is in somebody else's 8th house, or maybe their Neptune is in your 8th house, or if you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. So in terms of Synastry, basically the whole concept here is to see what's going on energetically between the two individuals. Now, Neptune in our natal charts deals with the illusions, the delusions, the dreams, the psychic realms, the creative realms, those higher vibrational realms. Neptune is really a planet that's all about romance and romanticizing things. It's all about the dreaming, the dream world, the illusion, the fantasy, but also those psychic gifts and abilities. It's all about the higher dimensions, connecting to those higher realms. So a lot of the time, Neptune energy wants everything to remain high vibrational and very much all about unconditional loving energies. And then we have the 8th house. The 8th house in our natal charts deals with the hidden aspect of the self, the vulnerabilities. It is going to be the secrets, the mysteries. It can also be the shadow side. It could be the aspects of ourselves that we are not necessarily comfortable expressing. Maybe we are not even aware that we have these traits, these shadow traits and these shadow tendencies with the 8th house, or maybe we are. That's the thing with this 8th house Synastry. It depends what's going on in both of the people's natal charts. Are the individuals already comfortable with these energies, or is this the first time you guys are coming into contact with another individual where these things are going to now come to the surface? So it depends always with Synastry, what's going on with your own individual natal chart, what's going on with the other person's natal chart, how evolved are the two people, how willing are the two people to work on themselves in these situations, and how much are they already in tune with these energies, or like I mentioned, is it the first time they are coming into contact with these energies? So the 8th house can deal with all the shadow things of the human, the things that are chilling at the base of the spine. It usually does it with some form of self-preservation. That 8th house energy is all about power and control, and sometimes even to the point of dominance. It depends what is going on. And once again, how evolved is the person with their 8th house, or even in this contact? Because the thing is, at the end of the day, energy is energy. So it's like in the beginning, one person might be feeling it more, but then the more time you spend with this person, the energies could get enmeshed between the two people, and then it could be hard to read who is expressing the energy here. But overall, this is the 8th house. It does deal also with anything to do with the lower aspect of the human, so the jealousy, control, manipulation, obsession, possessive energy, really merging to other people's energies with that 8th house. It deals with anything to do with sex, death, rebirth, joint finances, taxes, and the occult. So it could also deal with money and finances, usually other people's money. With the 8th house, it's usually the merging of energies. So whether that is sexually merging with another person, or just intimately merging in terms of being really close to that person, or financially merging, that's basically what the 8th house is all about in a nutshell, that is. Now, in this particular case, when we have someone's Neptune going into the other person's 8th house, this is going to be a really interesting dynamic because both of these energies rule the water signs. Neptune being ruled by Pisces in the current astrology, and then we have the 8th house that is ruled by the Scorpio energy. So this is really interesting because from one end of the story, the energies are going to get along with each other because it is water based. There could be a lot of room for emotions and feelings in this connection. But what I will say, well, first of all, one thing that I do want to mention is with the generational planets and the outer planets, you might not necessarily feel it as intensely with the 8th house Synastry as much as you would with the inner planets. But at the end of the day, 8th house Synastry is 8th house Synastry. And the thing is, with all of these dynamics, there is always some sort of a breakdown of the ego, and you go through some sort of change and transformation, either one or both of the parties in these situations. Now, when I say breakdown of the ego, I don't mean that as something maybe too intense. It could just be breaking down an old belief system that you had, something that really no longer serves you. When you guys come into this dynamic with this particular Synastry, you will leave transformed in one way, shape, or form. Now, the degree of the transformation is always up to the individual to see how much they are willing to change, let's say, in these dynamics, and release maybe old belief systems that really no longer serve them. Because with the 8th house does deal with the shadow of the self. It really is this. But also the Neptunian energy can also be the unconscious, the collective unconscious. The thing is with Neptune energy though, is like the Neptunian energy is very much an escapist type of energy. So when these two energies come into contact, the Neptune and the 8th house, I can really see this dynamic going a few different ways. First of all, if we go more into the Neptunian energy, the Neptunian individual could maybe want everything to be high vibrational and loving and, you know, unconditionally loving, like kind of trying to stay in those higher vibrations, whereas the 8th house person might be requiring more, let's say, depths or looking at shadows or the shadows of life. So there could be some bypassing, let's say, that does take place in this dynamic, either from one or both of the parties. Maybe both of the individuals, when they kind of enter into this realm, they might feel like they are in this dreamlike type of state, that it is this unconditionally loving type of relationship, that they are only in their own bubble and in their own Neptunian world. Like they could really go off into those higher vibrations together. But the thing is, the 8th house still does deal with the shadows. So I could see a form of avoidance taking place in this dynamic, where either the Neptunian person doesn't want to deal with it, or maybe the 8th house person doesn't want to, let's say, express certain things that are maybe darker or more intense, with the intention of trying to maintain this high vibration, this kind of dream-like state between the two individuals. It could absolutely be this. Now, the thing is, anytime there is any sort of Neptunian influence that is taking place in any sort of, let's say, synastry, or even in your own natal charts, the thing is, Neptune does deal with those higher vibrational realms, like I mentioned, and that dream and that perfection energy, because in the higher vibrational realms, everything is perfect. And especially when we look at things in terms of our own imaginations, or when we are going into, let's say, the dreamland or the fantasy land in our own minds, everything is perfect because we curate that image to be perfect. So the thing is, with Neptunian dynamics, it tends to be difficult to maintain that perfect image, that dream, that bubble for an extended period of time. It could last perhaps longer if the two people, let's say, have distance amongst each other, and like they only come into contact, let's say, maybe once a week or once in a while, where it's like that Neptunian dream is, you know, still being maintained. But when we look at relationships and you're spending a lot of time together, and even let's say it is a romantic relationship where you guys are living together, well, in that particular case, that illusion, that dream tends to shatter very quickly, because a lot of the shadows come to the surface. So if it is a relationship that is something of the sort where you guys spend a little bit more time together, where these shadows do come to the surface, I can really see the Neptunian individual not wanting to continue this relationship, for example, or not wanting to engage maybe in these challenging conversations about shadows and shadow traits. And it could really go into a spiritual bypassing type of energy, where the Neptune person wants everything, again, to remain high vibrational and in those higher vibrational realms. And maybe the 8th house person is requiring more, or maybe the 8th house person is, let's say, triggering the Neptune person to have their shadows come to the surface. And maybe the Neptune person doesn't like that version of themselves, because let's say, again, they want to maintain this dream-like state. So these types of dynamics, again, it might not come out to the surface right away, because it is generational. Like this dream-like state could be maintained for a longer period of time, even if it is a friendship, let's say, where it's like you guys aren't overly enmeshed. This could go on for a while. Or even relationship, if there is that space, let's say you guys are maybe long distance, or again, you don't maybe live together, or something of the sort, where it's like that Neptunian energy is kind of being prolonged, of this like dream-like state, of this like perfect image, let's say, of one or both of the parties in this dynamic. Let's say the 8th house person maybe brings up certain shadow conversations, or let's say harder conversations in general about just like, let's say, shadows in society. They could feel comfortable, they could feel received by the Neptune person, because that Neptunian energy is still receptive at the end of the day. It is that feminine energy, but maybe the Neptune person might not be able to go there. So over an extended period of time, to the 8th house person, or again, maybe it could kind of feel mutual between the two people. Let's say the energy does get enmeshed. One or both of the parties could be feeling this from the other individual. But let's say in this particular situation, you know, the 8th house person does want those depths and these types of things from the Neptune person. The Neptune person would receive them, but the thing is, the Neptune person might not be able to go there themselves. So over an extended period of time, the 8th house person could get frustrated with the Neptune person just wanting to constantly keep everything high vibe and high vibrational, and a lot of bypassing energy could take place in this situation. Especially the 8th house person might feel this way, because the 8th house person wants to talk about these things that are maybe, again, a little bit more taboo or hidden or darker, and the Neptune person might not necessarily want to go there, or might not even be able to go there themselves. Depends, again, on the charts, and maybe the Neptune person has, let's say, other 8th house placements or Scorpio placements, or let's say Pluto aspects in their natal chart taking place where they can go into those depths. Well, let's say they are able to go into those depths. This could be very much an intimate relationship, both physical and also just in terms of closeness, where both people feel comfortable in this little world that they have created. But it could very much be this, where it's like this bubble, where it's like they are just together. They are shutting out the rest of the world. The energy here that I'm kind of picking up on is kind of like the movie Inception, for example, where he had his girlfriend or spouse. I can't remember exactly the details here, it's been so long, but basically his partner, like the partner was, let's say, in this dream world that he created for himself. It very much is that type of vibe. Or even the movie Vanilla Sky, even that movie, I don't remember the details, I'm just psychically seeing that movie because I believe it has something to do with like a dream or something of the sort. regardless, it's this concept of like being in this dream world where you guys are just in this bubble yourselves. And again, it depends how long can you maintain that. And also, not only that, it's like it could really go into codependency energy, and especially if there's things that are unprocessed here, it could very much go into the shadow of codependency, where it's like you guys literally shut out the rest of the world. Maybe you guys isolate yourselves in situations where one or maybe both of the parties are isolated are never healthy, is really what that is. So just something to keep in mind with any of these Neptunian dynamics, because in these Neptunian dynamics, it really does feel like you two kind of curate and create this world for yourselves where only you understand each other. It's very much like a bubble type of energy amongst the two people. Now, let's say the A house person, because the A house can deal with power and control, maybe their shadows come to the surface. Let's say it is a codependent dynamic where maybe the A house person finally feels seen and heard and understood in a situation, or it could be the other person, because again, the energy could be interchangeable. But let's say these shadow traits are coming to the surface. Well, in this case, maybe the Neptunian person, because that Neptunian energy is very non-committal as well, it's the energy of no boundaries is really what that is. So there could be a dynamic taking place here where, let's say, one or both of the parties don't want to be abandoned or are fearing being abandoned, and they don't want the other person to leave. So these power and control tactics and dynamics could start to play out. And in Neptune's case, Neptune's not about that. Neptune is very much unconditionally loving, which might not necessarily work for the A house that kind of just sometimes wants a person to themselves. And especially if there's these fears taking place, they could come up to the surface. But maybe that's something that might have to be cleared, let's say, in this dynamic between either one or both of the parties. Because again, it could be the A house person, but the energy could be playing out between the two people. Let's say the A house person triggers that within the Neptune person. Maybe the Neptune person has to clear that within themselves. So that's kind of the idea here of what's taking place between these two individuals. If we look at it, let's say, as a sexual dynamic, let's say it is an intimate dynamic and it gets physical, maybe it's romantic as well, because the Neptunian energy could be romantic, so there could be romance involved as well. Again, you guys have to look and see what else is going on with the synastries to see how this dynamic will play out between the two people. But let's say it is something that does get physical and intimate. Well, in that case, if these two individuals have maybe worked through, let's say, lower chakra wounds and woundings, and maybe all these things that I mentioned, let's say in terms of the fear of abandonment and the intense codependency and power and control, let's say all of that is worked through and we're looking at the divine version of this energy. Well, in that case, when these two get intimate, this energy could literally go to the point of like these two reaching different dimensions and higher dimensions and really having a spiritual experience taking place in these particular realms. Okay, I hope you guys are following. Sometimes I have to speak between the lines on here, but when you guys get involved in this particular way, you guys could literally, let's say, go out of body, and maybe you guys even go into other dimensions, or you get, let's say, certain downloads or pieces of information after, for example, you guys reach that highest point. Again, I'm speaking between the lines, but that's kind of like the idea here. That's kind of like the divine version, okay? Really using alchemy and the sexual energy and the energy that's created between the two individuals to reach higher dimensions and enter, let's say, even higher planes of existence. And I'm even seeing like two individuals that even through this particular act go into those higher dimensions together. Again, kind of like those movies like I mentioned, where just like the two people that exist in those dimensions. Now, one more thing that I also want to mention that I haven't mentioned is this could be a very intuitive dynamic, like between the two people. There could be a lot of telepathy involved. They could really, really understand each other on that level of just like not even having to speak, even, for example. And I could actually even see this manifesting into those dynamics that exist only in the astral realm, maybe for one or both of the parties. But anyways, I'm not going to take you guys too much into the crown chakra in this video today. So these are a few things that can take place with this energy. Absolutely could be divine, but it could go into the shadows just like any of the synastry placements, because ultimately it is a plane of duality at the end of the day, and it always depends on one or both of the people. How evolved are they? How much are they willing to work on themselves? And how much are they willing to work on the connection as well? And of course, what else is going on in the synastry and their own natal charts. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I do hope you guys enjoyed my video on Neptune in the A house synastry. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.